What up, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Hangover on Downs. I am your host, Logan, and of course, I'm being joined by my amazing co-host, Tyler Belcher. Go ahead, Tyler. Tell the people about yourself. Let's hear it.
So my name's Tyler. I love sports. My favorite football team's the Bears, as you can probably see. My favorite baseball team's the Cubs. And my favorite basketball team's the Bulls. And I'm a big West Virginia fan when it comes to football and basketball.
All right. I like it. So, if some of you were here for week by week, I doubt that, but this is a way more advanced version of week by week, as you can see. So, this is week by week on steroids. But, my name is Logan. I run a sports YouTube channel, Luxio. I post sports content on my own, so go check that out if you want. I am a Titans fan, a Grizzlies fan, a Braves fan, which is the hat I'm currently wearing, and a West Virginia Mountaineers fan in college, just like Tyler. So, no really rivalries going on in this podcast, but, I mean, you know.
I'm sure it might get heated at some point.
And now, the main man Tyler here, he's going to tell you a little bit about what Hangover on Downs is and just what we're all about as a podcast.
So I'll start off with what week by week used to be. We used to cover strictly football, strictly NFL football, and it was pretty much just us going over topics, what's going on around the league in an hour podcast. Now, Hangover on Downs, we're going to do it as we cover all sports. So we're going to do basketball, MLB, NFL, college football, and college football. And, we might talk about our teams a little bit more than others, but we're going to cover the hot topics around the league, trades.
If you're a fan of any of the teams we mentioned, you're in the right place.
But, there might be some episodes where we do, like a little game or something, like ranking our top quarterbacks or ranking top running backs or ranking the top pitchers.
One of the things I can include that we had decided talking on was like just doing like, we're going to, we could say this too, podcast will be uploaded Wednesdays. We're going to record it Tuesday evenings because we still kind of want to main focus on NFL. That's still both of our favorites, and that's what we talk about the most. So the reason we're going to do Tuesdays is so it's after the NFL week, but it's before the next week. It's in between NFL weeks, so there should be nothing major going on that we would miss in between episodes. So with that being said, though, and we had talked about uploading maybe another video a week, maybe every couple weeks or so, of just like a little quiz or just us quizzing each other, something along the lines of that that's not podcast related. So for the first official Hangover on Downs podcast segment, let's hop into, of course, the always controversial, because people are going to get mad because we don't pick their favorite team, the always controversial NFL division winners. Now, I'm going to start, we're not going to talk about every single team individually. We'll probably hop into that at some point as we get closer to the season, I would assume. But we still got, probably about a month? Because we're entering preseason days now, so we got about a month till the season. So we'll hop into that as we get closer. But so the way that we're going to break this down is I have AFC, Tyler has NFC, and then we're going to rotate, and we're going to talk about the top two teams in the division. So we're going to explain our first place team and our second place team and why they're not first. Got it?
I got it.
Let's hop into it. So for the AFC, for the AFC North, this is a no-brainer to me. It's the Bengals. That is hands down. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase is one of the best wide receiver QB duos. They kind of did some more work to their offensive line. Their defense looks like it's about to get even better. This Bengals team, I feel like, you think that they have free agents and they're going to lose guys and stuff, and then they just, the last 2 years, every free agency the last 2 years, they've won out and they've got a better piece. And they're doing everything they can to protect Burrow and utilize his prime, and I can see it. And then my second place team would probably be the Ravens. The Browns for me are just hard to predict, man. I mean, they really are. But the Browns to me are just one of the harder teams to predict. I mean, because I don't know how good Deshaun Watson's gonna be. Like, I know, and the wide receiver group is not good. They still have Nick Chubb. Offensive line still good. D-line, I mean, Myles Garrett is still Myles Garrett. I mean, they still have a good defense on paper, and I think they have a good team on paper. Wide receiver group lacks, but I don't know. It's because Deshaun was not good last year when he came back. We can agree with that.
No,
Deshaun was not good. I don't know how good Deshaun Watson's going to be. So for now, I can't put the Browns in second, and I don't think the Steelers. I do think Pickett is good, but I don't think he's going to get them competing in this division this year. But Ravens at second. I did kind of talk about every team. Maybe we should. Sorry. We can talk about every team. But so I mean, and the Ravens to me. And this isn't like a second place, like a 7-8 win second place. I mean, this could be like a 10 win second place in wild card. Definitely. And then moving on to the AFC, I mean, I see it, or the AFC East, I see it kind of the same way, honestly. There are 3 teams in this division that could all realistically, if stay healthy, win the Super Bowl, I think. And, there's a lot of factors that go into that, obviously, but my division winner, this is might be controversial because I think everyone's still gonna pick the Bills. Because everyone would pick the Bills, I feel like, but I'm picking the Jets. I think the Jets are gonna have a phenomenal regular season and win 13 games, but I think it's gonna be typical Aaron Rodgers fashion. I think they're gonna go out sad. I think that there is a very legit chance, even with the Chiefs, the AFC steals the even with the Chiefs, I think there's a legit chance that the Jets steal the 1 seed overall in the AFC and have a phenomenal regular season. But then I can see like a Ravens getting in at wild card and beating them. I mean, it's just how Aaron Rodgers rolls. And I mean, I've been open that I'm not the biggest fan of Aaron Rodgers in the past. I mean, but
I think it's pretty clear I'm not too.
But so I'm going Jets. I think they have. I think Aaron Rodgers has a phenomenal year. I think the Jets have a phenomenal year. But I don't think they do anything in the playoffs. Then my second place. It's so tough because this is a damn good division. It really is. I'm gonna go Bills, but I think that your top 3 teams in this division could all be 10+ wins. So your wild card spots could be those 2 teams in that division right there. 10 wins could honestly not be enough to get in a wild card this year. Moving on, though, to the AFC South. I mean, I'm going to pick the Titans. I'm not going to not pick the Titans, right? But I think that this division-winning record could be like 8 wins, exactly like it was last year. I do think the Jags are better than... I think the Jags are getting better, and I like Trevor Lawrence, and I think Lawrence is definitely due to get even better this year. But I still don't think the Jags are where they need to be. They're just too young. And Colts, kind of the same thing. I mean, I think Anthony Richardson could be good, as much as it pains me to say, because he's on the Colts. But I think he's the most project player of all the top QB prospects. And I just don't see Anthony Richardson finding much success his first year in the league. I do not. I mean, the Texans are the Texans. They'll probably finish last place. But, yeah. And then AFC West, Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City will win this division. And I think the Raiders will finish last. I mean, but this is another damn division where, like, the top 3 teams could each have 10 wins. I mean, I don't see why Chargers, Chiefs, and Broncos couldn't all win 10 games. I mean, it really is crazy. But I'm going to go Chiefs definitely at 1. I think the Broncos bounce back, man. But I'm going with my gut, and I'm going Chargers at 2. I mean, Chargers finish second. Broncos finish third at 8 to 10 wins. And Raiders finish last in that division. So, my division winners, I got Bengals, Jets, Titans, and Chiefs in the AFC. So let me hear your NFC.
All right, so we're going to start off with the NFC North. I got to go with the Bears. I mean, we had an amazing offseason signing Tremaine Edmonds, P.J. Edwards, Nate Davis. Who's someone else we signed? We signed Yannick Ngakoue. We signed Rasheem Green. A lot of solid players. And Robert Tonyan, too, I think, is an underrated one. what falls down for me is Justin Fields and Matt Eberflus. Can Fields take that next step, especially as a passer? I believe he can throw the ball, but if you watch last year, the man had nothing. This year, there's no excuse. You brought in DJ Moore. You got Mooney, Claypool, who I think can be solid as a red zone threat and as a big body weapon.
I
And you
didn't
got
like that trade. It didn't
I
make
didn't
sense.
even go. I told you how much I hated it.
It doesn't make sense. What does Chase Claypool bring to that team? I mean,
He can be a big body possession guy with some speed to offer. I think he can be a nice red zone threat. I do think he complements Mooney and DJ Moore real well, really well. It's just, can he go back to where his rookie season? I think it was like 800 yards, and I think he had like 11 touchdowns. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was a good.
yeah, he had like
So-
800 yards, 11. So that was Big Ben's last year, right?
That was whenever they made the wild card.
Oh, that was the year they went undefeated for like the first 12 games and then fucking blew it.
Did they get the 1 seed that year?
No,
didn't-
Tennis. No, that was not the year we did because that was the year our defense was ass.
Or Kansas City.
That year was Kansas City because that was the Kansas City Buffalo year. If I'm not, no, I'm tripping. I'm still tripping. 2020. That was Kansas City because that was Tom Brady year. Yeah, Kansas City.
But I think the Bears win at 10 wins. Now, I know a lot of people want to agree because of the Lions. I have one thing to say. It's Detroit. They'll find a way to screw it up. I think they win 8 or 9 wins. Second. Minnesota, I think, was the most overrated team last year. They were a horrible 13-win team. I think Kirk Cousins declines. I think he takes a step back. He's an older quarterback. And I think this is his last year in Minnesota. The defense is not good. You have great weapons as you drafted Jordan Addison, and you have Justin Jefferson, who I think is the best receiver in the league.
I love Jordan Addison too as a prospect. I absolutely love Jordan Addison.
Christian Darrisaw has emerged to be one of the best left tackles in the league. It's not a bad team, so maybe like
There-
7.
There's no excuse for Minnesota this year. I mean,
There's not. It's just I don't think they're that good. I really don't. And then Green Bay, I'm gonna put bias aside here because obviously I hate Green Bay, but defense is not great. It's not. Rashawn Gary's a good player. Obviously Kenny Clark, Jair Alexander, but they're very top heavy. There's not a lot of that medium tier players. It feels like you've got your superstars on defense, and then you've got not so great players. So, in their offense, Jordan Love's the quarterback. I'm not a big Jordan Love fan, but I'm not going to say he's going to be a bust because he does have a rocket arm. Accuracy is not great. He can move, but he's not mobile. I think that offensive line's still really good, and they have horrible weapons. I think this is a retool year, or maybe even a rebuild. We'll just have to see, but I think they win 5-6 games. And then go into the NFC East. I think it's pretty simple. I'm going to pick the Eagles were dominant last year. I don't care how much they lost on defense. They drafted Jalen Carter and the other Georgia pass rusher. I can't think of his name.
Nolan Smith.
Yeah. Amazing draft. They may have even won the draft.
I think they won the draft.
You have Jalen Hurts, who was second in MVP votes last year, to go with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Wes Watkins, Dallas Goedert, and probably the best offensive line in the league. And a good head coach. I think they win 13 games.
I agree.
I really do.
100%. I think that they go back to the Super Bowl. I mean,
Yeah.
the Eagles are that damn good.
They are. Second, I'm going to go with the Giants. I love Brian Dable. I think they also had a good draft. The reason I'm not going with the Cowboys, well, I do think the Giants win 9-10 games, something like that. The reason I'm not picking Dallas, I'm not a big Dak Prescott guy, and it's Dallas. Trayvon Diggs, I believe, is not a very good corner. I don't think he's bad, but I feel like he gets so overrated. Obviously, Michael Parsons is probably one of the best defense players in the league, if not overall player. I just feel like they have a down year. I mean, you see down years all the time when it comes to NFL teams. Like, if you look at the 2019 Chicago Bears, it happens. So, I believe they'll win 8 or 9 games, and then Washington Commanders. formerly the football team.
Formerly the Redskins.
Yeah, formerly the Redskins. So I think it's a mess in Washington. I actually do like Sam Howell quite a bit, but it, and the main thing for me is Chase Young. Can he stay healthy? Because you've got Montez Sweat on the other side, you've got Deron Payne who you extended, and you've got Jonathan Allen. So I mean, it's an amazing defensive line. So if Chase Young can stay healthy and contribute to that, they might have a top 5 defense in the league. But even if he does, I think they win 5-6 games.
Yeah, I agree. They're not going to be a high win team this year.
And I do like Sam Howell. I do hope he works out. I wasn't too big on him coming out of North Carolina, but I didn't hate him. I think he can be all right.
I like Howell. I really do. I'm probably bigger on Howell than some other people are.
Yeah, I'm like in that middle tier. I don't hate him. I don't love him. So NFC South, it's not a good division, but I think that the Saints win it. It's just the most complete roster. Derek Carr's not a bad quarterback, even though I believe he's really overpaid. It's just the most complete roster. It's not a bad team. It's not a great team. I think they'll win 9 games.
Max. I think max 9 games, the division winner.
Well, the reason I say 9 is because look who they're playing twice a year.
Yeah.
Bucks, Falcons. And I don't know how you'll feel about this, but I personally believe that second place in that division is Carolina. I like Bryce Young. I think he's going to be good. It's not a bad offensive line. It's not the greatest. I think they get a little more hate than they deserve. And obviously, you lost DJ Moore, but you brought in Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, and they still have LaVisca, right? It's not the worst receiving core. Defense, I don't think is horrible. You got Brian Burns. You've got
the GOAT Terrence Marshall's also there.
Yeah, you was so big on Terrence Marshall.
Tommy Trimble's also there.
The linebacker I can't think of that's been there for a minute.
Oh, Shaq Thompson.
Yeah, Shaq Thompson. It's not a bad team. I think they win 7 games. I think they take a step up from last year, and I don't hate Frank Reich. I don't love him. So
I hate him.
Yeah, I know you do.
I can't stand him.
Won like 7 games. Tampa with Baker. It's you went from potential Super Bowl contender to maybe the laughingstock of the league. Baker Mayfield. I'm going to go 5 games. And then Atlanta, I'm not a big Desmond Ridder guy. I think you are. I'm not too big on him. I do like their receiving core quite a lot. And I like their running backs. Because, you got Tyler Algier. You brought in Bijan. You still have Cordero, who I think's not even really getting looked at this year. Great gadget weapon. The defense is not great, but I think they'll win 5 or 6 as well. And then last but not least, the NFC West. I think it's pretty clear I'm going to pick here's the winner. It's San Francisco. I'm not a big Brock Purdy guy, but I'm also a believer that Kyle Shanahan is...
He's a god. He's a football god.
I think you could put Nathan Peterman in that offense, and he wouldn't be Nathan Peterman. I'm not saying he'd be good, but I'm saying...
He'd at least be Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I'm not a big Brock Purdy guy, but I think he'll get the job done. I think they win 12 games.
So what happened? Well, I'll ask you in a minute, actually. I'll ask you after I do mine.
I think second place Seattle. Obviously we're West Virginia fans. We do like Geno Smith, and we love the year that he had last year. It was really good. Do I think he has that same season? No, but I think he will be a good quarterback. It's not a bad team. You drafted receiver Jackson Smith and Jigba. You've got DK Metcalf. You've got Tyler Lockett still, who's very consistent, really underrated if you ask me. I don't know off the top of my head how Charles Cross was last year. He was bad, wasn't he? He was bad. We'll see if he takes that next step. I'm not too big on the offensive line, but the defense could be worse. So I think they'll win 10 games. I think it's a good team. The Rams. That's... Wow. We'll see if Stafford can come back and play football. We'll see. You've got Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson. It's not a horrible thing. Obviously, Aaron Donald. You traded Jalen Ramsey. You have no draft picks. You have no really young players that are amazing.
They literally did it all for the Super Bowl.
They might be the new Detroit Lions for the next 80 years.
They got the ring
They,
though.
I think they'll win 6 games.
I think McVay's gonna bounce.
Yeah, if I'm McVay, I'm getting out of there.
He's
And
gonna bounce.
the Cardinals, I don't think they're horrible when Kyler Murray's on the field. I don't think they're the worst team in football. Um, I'm a big Isaiah Simmons guy. I love Zaven Collins. The corners do need help, but Kyler Murray's missing the first 6 weeks. Colt McCoy's going to be the starting quarterback.
That's
They're
gonna be interesting.
those games. I think they win 3 games. I'm not a Kyler Murray hater. I'm also not like Kyler Murray's a god, but I think he has high potential and can still be a good quarterback. And yeah, I think I pretty much covered mine. So
All right, my turn for the NFC. I am gonna move kind of quick through this. First place in the NFC North. Now I've got it different. Okay, and you know that we've talked about this. My division winner is the Lions. I love Dan Campbell, and I love this Lions team, and I think they have so much heart, and I think this Lions team is going to win this division this year, and then get shit on by somebody in the playoffs. But I think they're gonna win the division.
it's Detroit.
I think no, but here's my point. Here's my point. So this is where they screw it up, right? They win 9-10 games because this division it's not bad, but it's not,
It's a lot of mediocre.
exactly. I think it's a lot of average quarterback play.
I think 2 high potential teams, and I think 1 mediocre team and 1 team
But-
that's kind of rebuilding.
But anyway, I think Detroit wins 9-10 games, but gets shit on in the playoffs. Like, I think whoever they match up with in the first round, say they're probably in the wild card playing, I don't know, like the fucking Seahawks. I think the Seahawks would smoke them. But with that being said, I think they win the division, and I do think I think Chicago finishes second, but I think Chicago and Minnesota tie at probably 8 or 9 wins, and then Green Bay at the bottom with probably 4 to 6. NFC East, we pretty much agree. I'm going Eagles. I think I've said this before. I said it on my main channel, youtube.com/LoganLuxio. Said it on my main channel. I think the Eagles don't have a Super Bowl hangover. I think they get right back into the swing of things.
If they do, it'll shock me.
And I think they come out and win 12, 13 games again. Now, my second place is the Cowboys. But I could see kind of like the NFC North where like the Cowboys and Giants both win like 8 to 10 games in that range. Then Commanders, same thing. I mean, they're not anything. I mean, I think the Commanders could be one of the worst teams in the league this year. They're just, and the NFC South, I go back and forth between 2 teams, and you probably know what 2 teams they are.
My 2 teams, my top 2.
Huh?
Is it New Orleans and Carolina?
No, it's New Orleans and Tampa Bay.
Really? So I'm definitely.
I still think Tampa Bay is good enough, but despite Baker, to be willed to. I mean, especially in this division, like I think they'll sweep the Falcons.
I see your point.
I think they sweep the Falcons, and maybe 1-1 with Carolina and New Orleans. So that's 5 wins alone. Then they're definitely going to beat up on a team like the Redskins or something. I mean, I think 7 wins is realistic for this Tampa Bay team still. But I also think that 7 to 10 wins is also the realistic category of the Saints too. And honestly, and then Carolina's like 6 to 8 range.
Yeah.
And then
it's not a division.
But I'm gonna pick the Saints. I agree, and I picked the Saints on my main channel too because I said the same thing you did. Most complete roster, literally same thing. So I'm gonna go Saints. Saints, Tampa Bay, Carolina, and then Falcons. And then NFC West, same thing. The Niners are just Shanahan's a genius. I mean, literally, he knows how to make any QB look good. And Seahawks at second place. Once again, another 10-win second place team, I think. And then the Rams, I kind of think it's like the Browns. Like, how do you predict the Rams?
I think it would be a lot easier to predict the Rams than the Browns because the Browns have a much better roster than the Rams. But, is Deshaun Watson still what he was with Houston, and is Stafford going to bounce back? I think that's what it comes down to.
Man, the Rams are just hard. I'm gonna say they still could win. Like, it all depends on Stafford. I mean, that's what I think it depends on. Because Stafford is older. I mean, we have to remember that. And the year that they won the Super Bowl, dude was like already in his 30s, bro. He probably gave it his fucking all to win that Super Bowl, and he did.
He was the quarterback in the league that year, just 2 years ago.
But like, he's in his 30s, and my point is, I mean, that could have been it for him. Like, he gave everything he had left in the tank for that. And I mean, that's fine. He got his ring.
He did.
But definitely.
So now we're going up into my AFC. I'm going to try to keep it brief because I really do have the same opinion as Logan for most of it. I am spot on with what he said about the North. It's the Bengals. Joe Burrow, probably the best receiving. No, the Dolphins. One of the best receiving cores in the NFL. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. It's really good, and the offensive line I think will improve. But I mean, even with a bad offensive line, Joe Burrow is that good. Defense is pretty solid. I think they win 12 games. Ravens are my second place team, but I think it depends on one thing: can Lamar stay healthy? And I don't hate Lamar. I'm not the type that says he's a running back. He really can throw the ball. But my issue with Lamar over the years is his style of play, and I'm kind of in the same boat with Justin Fields if he continues to run like he does and throw for 11 times a game. You get injured. I mean, that's just the way of the game, and Lamar's already seeing it. If Lamar's hurt, this team's not good. It's not. Receivers are not great. Offensive line's solid. Defense is all right. But Lamar Jackson's that good of a player when he's healthy. I think they win 10 games, 9. I'll go 9. Browns, again, one of the hardest to even talk about because you just don't know what Deshaun Watson's going to be. Obviously, he was horrible last year, but we also got to take into factor how long he's been away from the game of football. So I think 7 games. I think they win 7 games. It's a really good roster. It just comes down to Deshaun, and same thing as what Logan says about Steelers. Kenny Pickett's not. He's not bad. He's not great. He's a very average quarterback, and I think that's what he always will be.
Is Deshaun Cosby the third best QB in that division?
And I'm like really 50-50 because I
we both agree who's first, right? Burrow.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So
and then
Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Cosby?
Wait, Lamar or Deshaun?
So who's the third? So Deshaun.
I think Deshaun for third only because I know what he can be.
Like Pickett's 4.
Pickett's 4. I don't hate Pickett. I really do. But I won't get move on to the East. This is going to be different. I truly believe if Tua can stay healthy, they can win the division. I truly think so, and I don't have anything against you picking the Jets. I will pick the Bills only because of...
I kind of picked the Jets for the meme of them being really good in the regular season and then Aaron Rodgers getting shit on in the playoffs.
I think 3 of these teams make the playoffs. Well, obviously one will, but I think whoever finishes second and third will as well. I'm going to have the Bills winning the division in a tiebreaker. I'm going to go 11 wins. I think I have Dolphins as my second. But all of that can change with Tua. I'm going to have the Jets win 10. Still a really solid season. Does Aaron Rodgers go back to what he was? I think he does. And I don't even like Aaron Rodgers. But you see what they have. I just think it's one of those...
The Jets are going to have a damn good regular season.
I think they will.
I say that with a lot of confidence, too.
I think they'll win 10, 11 games. I really do.
Their only downfall could be Aaron Rodgers getting hurt and Zach Wilson has to play. Because Zach Wilson fucking sucks.
We were wrong about him.
Big time. Podcast watchers, don't go back and look at the old week-by-week videos where we... Bro, I'm willing to bet you, and this is off topic, but I'm willing to bet you we probably have at least like a 20-minute segment somewhere of us praising Zach Wilson. And I loved Zach Wilson coming out.
I didn't love him like you did, but I still loved him. You didn't really go over New England, but, is Belichick really...
Is Belichick a fraud? No, I'm just kidding. But
I really don't think he is either. But
no, Belichick's not a fraud, and if you think Belichick is a fraud, please stop watching sports. I'm sorry.
Mac Jones is an average quarterback. I think he's a great value. Kirk Cousins.
I think he's Jimmy Garoppolo.
I'd say even that's a little much.
Maybe.
Jimmy G. I don't love him.
Here's what I said. I remember my comparison. I remember my ceiling. My ceiling for him was Derek Carr, which I think is very respectable. Mm-hmm. And that's his absolute ceiling. And Derek Carr's a good quarterback. I mean, and then my floor for him was... Who did I say was my floor for him? I think... Keep talking while I think.
I'm kind of going to go what you said, too. I remember my comparison for him. My ceiling for him was Kirk Cousins. Which, honestly, if he was Kirk Cousins...
I'm thinking.
It would... I think my floor was like a Dolphins Ryan Tannehill, in a way.
Yeah, that's... Because I never doubted that Mac Jones would be a serviceable quarterback from the beginning. Yeah, never doubted that.
Tannehill on the Dolphins wasn't horrible, but he wasn't.
He was a serviceable. He was a serviceable quarterback.
Yeah, I think Mac Jones was just going to be solid. I don't think he was going to be anything special. I think this team though wins about 6 games. I do like their defense. I do, and obviously you have Bill Belichick there. The offense is horrible. Mac Jones is not great. You lost Damian Harris. I think he signed with the Bills, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So. Not really much of a run game. Receivers.
Meh.
Okay, this is very confusing for me. So,
while we're on this topic, people were talking about why would DeAndre Hopkins choose Tennessee over New England? Why the fuck would he not?
Exactly.
Bro, look at how good the AFC East is compared to the AFC South. Because guess what? I'm sorry. NFL is not like NBA. It's one fucking game. So, I mean, and the Titans did it just 4 years ago. I mean, all you have to do, my man, is get in. So, Titans can win. If they win 8 games, that D-Hop's thought is they can win 8 games and get in. And he's right.
He is.
And as long as they get in, who cares? Because I'll be honest, yes, the extra bye week is nice, but in NFL, I don't give a fuck about the playoff seeding. I don't care where you are. If you're in the playoffs, you're a contender, unless you're like the year that like Washington made it or something. But you know what I mean.
Yeah. But this is what I was getting at. Why would you pay Juju the same money as Jacoby got, but let Jacoby walk? You know, maybe you may disagree with this. I think Jacoby Myers is the better player.
Than Juju?
I really think so, yeah.
I can't agree. I can't. I cannot. I think Juju is more valuable.
Here's my reasoning, though.
I wish Juju... I don't like Juju that much. Actually, I'll be honest. I'm not a big fan of Juju at all. But I can't say he's worse than Jacoby Myers. But that's not me saying Jacoby Myers is bad either.
No, Jacoby Myers is solid. I don't think Juju's great either. But my main thing to him is TikTok. He's a little TikTok boy. He goes and dances and, you know.
Does he even, I actually don't know this for a fact. Does he still do that?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know that for a fact. I know he did, obviously. Bro, whenever he was dancing and stuff during their undefeated season, when they were going undefeated and then they got shit on.
I'm going to go and tell you that's why I value Jacoby over Juju. But it's not on-field talent, but it's more so a locker room presence.
I don't really know. I've never looked into what people say about Juju as a locker room guy. So I mean, if he's,
from what I saw, he was a distraction.
I'm not. The way I see it is I agree with you. If he's a bad locker room guy, then you're 100% right. But then it's also, I mean, if people like his energy and stuff, then whatever. But yeah, I
don't think Bill Belichick will.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me as a Bill Belichick player.
No, not even the slightest.
I feel like Mike Tomlin and Andy Reid are both pretty outgoing coaches, and like they're funny. Like I love Mike Tomlin, and I love Andy Reid, and I just feel like they're both like pretty outgoing coaches, and like that team, both of those teams are pretty outgoing too. Like the New England Patriots aren't. Like they're kind of boring, but they win.
I'll tell you this: if Juju's dancing on the middle of someone else's logo, dancing when he should be warming up, Belichick will bench him. He will,
Bro. I think that's gonna be a funny ass experiment. That's gonna be so funny.
Yeah. But that's really the reason why I value Jacoby more. Maybe it's not on-field talent, but it's the locker room questions. That's why I do. But we're gonna move on here. We said we'd keep this brief, but we really didn't. The AFC South. I'm gonna go with Jacksonville, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. I just think Jacksonville takes that next step. I'm really big on Trevor Lawrence. I think they win 9 games. I think so. And
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley as well. Doug, what's his name? Doug Peterson, the head coach, I think is a very good head coach. I think they win 9 games.
What are your thoughts on Trayvon Walker?
I'm not big on him. I know neither are you. I don't think he was worth the first overall pick at all, to be honest. He has a very high ceiling, I will be honest. And this is very controversial. I think he was the worst on that Georgia's defense.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I mean,
he surely went first overall only because
he's a freak. I mean, he's a freak athlete.
That's exactly why. I think he can be an awesome player, and do I think he'll reach that? I'm gonna be honest, no. I don't.
All I'm saying, Ryan Tannehill praises DeAndre Hopkins. Titans QB says wide receiver looks like vintage Hopkins so far at training camp. I don't think DeAndre Hopkins ever didn't look like vintage Hopkins.
He was awesome last year when he came back.
Well, that's what I was going to say, but has there ever really been a time where DeAndre Hopkins hasn't looked like DeAndre Hopkins?
No. He just got suspended for 6 games, I think it was.
For something, it was stupid too, wasn't he? It was. I think it was. They said he was on performance enhancing drugs, but like but he wasn't. Like it was weird.
I don't really know much about that. But
I'm pretty sure they tried to say he was on a steroid, and then like everyone was like, "What the fuck?" And then like even the Cardinals organization was like, "What?" And he wasn't. I don't know this whole story behind that. I think a lot of people were confused about that though.
Yeah, I didn't really look much into it.
I didn't either. I might have to do some research on that, but anyway.
I think the Titans win 8 games. I think their defense is phenomenal. I think it's a top 10 defense in the league. The offense does have some question marks. I love the draft pick of Peter Skoronski, who they're now playing at guard.
Interesting. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that at a later date.
Yeah.
We'll break down our teams at some point.
I'm going to personally say this. I would keep him at tackle. I would.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it later.
Yeah,
I'm not going to give my thoughts on it yet. I might tell you off camera, but
I think they win 8 games. But I think defense is going to be great still. Offense has question marks. I'm bigger on Will Levis than most people. Now, I'm not Mel Kiper, but
bro, Mel Kiper. I mean, Mel Kiper was sexually assaulting Will Levis. I mean, Jesus.
No, but I am going to take some points that he says, and it's true. If you look at Kentucky last year, he lost all of his weapons. Wan'Dale Robinson, gone. He got drafted in second round.
You know who the same exact thing happened to?
Who?
Sam Howell.
Yeah.
He lost all of his weapons, fell to a later round pick after once being projected high as fuck.
But if you look at his physical attributes and his arm, exceptional. What is he, 6'6"?
He's 6'5", 6'6", yeah.
6'5".
Big boy.
Big guy quarterback. I'd be scared if Will Levis was run towards me with his coffee with mayonnaise in it.
And he's not slow.
He's definitely not slow. He can move. and I know this is going to get a lot of hate, but I'm bigger on Will Levis than I am Anthony Richardson.
I agree.
I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but that's just what I truly think. And
I mean, I definitely think in the right system, AR-15 has a higher ceiling.
I think he definitely has the higher ceiling, but he has such a low floor.
I think Tennessee's going to do a really good job with Will Levis, too.
I agree. Now, can Shane Steichen do what he did with Jalen Hurts with Anthony Richardson? I think Jalen Hurts was a much better passer coming out of college. This man, Anthony Richardson, had a 55% completion percentage in college.
Mm-hmm.
In college. That's where I picked Will Levis better. I think Will Levis is a much better passer.
I really trust Tim Kelly with Will Levis a lot. I love Tim Kelly, and I think he's going to be miles better than Downing was, which is why, like, I'm kind of mixed. I think there's a world where our offense is really elite this year.
I can see where you're.
There's a world where I see Tannehill playing like he did, 2 years ago. Henry, I don't see. Bro. The biggest problem I feel like in 2021 was we had AJ Brown and Julio Jones in the playoffs, but Downing didn't do shit to actually utilize them, and so it was just give the ball to Derrick Henry 100 fucking times again.
Yeah, Todd Downing was.
Bro, I'm going to be honest with you. After week 1, if Derrick Henry gets more than 20-ish carries, 23 carries, because, bro, at some point we've got to start limiting him. And if Derrick Henry gets more than 20 to 23 carries and Tannehill throws the ball less than like 20 times, I'm going to be really fucking disappointed in Tennessee. I am, because there is no reason, especially after what Chig did last year too, Chigosium. Yeah. I think Chig is going to break out as Chig is going to be an elite tight end as far as, route running and speed, and he's going to make spectacular catches and do shit like that. But he's not going to be as valuable in the run game. But we have guys for that, so I'm not worried. Trayvon Wesco is listed as we're running a 2 tight end set, which kind of concerns me a little bit, but Trayvon Wesco is in there, so Yeah. So I don't know. It concerns me, man. But I'm gonna be really fucking disappointed if DeAndre Hopkins doesn't get targets and only gets the ball thrown his way 3-4 times. I'm gonna be really fucking disappointed, and Derrick Henry gets 30 carries. I'm gonna be really disappointed in Tennessee because they had an entire offseason with a brand new OC to rework it, and they didn't change shit.
Now here's a question. Do you think a Mariota situation kind of happens when Tannehill got there? Mariota isn't so great for the first however many games, and Levis comes in.
Bro, okay. I've thought a lot about Ryan Tannehill, right? But my thing is, so I've thought a lot about Ryan Tannehill. I really have. And I still think Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback. It's not, I don't think we're going to see 2020 Ryan Tannehill, which does suck. But I still think Ryan Tannehill is good. And, it's not his fault that, in 2021, yeah, that was statistically his worst year. It's not his fault he lost his MVP candidate halfway through the season. And our offensive line kept getting hurt. And A.J. Brown and Julio Jones couldn't stay healthy. That's not Tannehill's fault. And then last year, it's not Tannehill's fault the front office didn't sign anybody for him to throw to. And that fucking Dennis Daly was our left tackle. That's not Tannehill's fault.
I was dead ass going to say. So Dennis Daly was the best offensive tackle in the NFL.
That's not Tannehill's fault, Mm-hmm. It pisses me off, man. The way Titans fans disrespect Ryan Tannehill, it pisses me off. It does. But I'm all for Will Levis. I love the guy, and I think he'll take over. But, anyway.
I'm going to wrap up the AFC here real quick
because
all right. We kind of have the same opinion. Colts, I think, wins about 6 games. Like I said, AR can be very good. Do I think he's going to be that his rookie year? No. Houston's Houston. I do think they look better than last year. Doesn't mean they're going to win games. But I think you'll see a lot of potential with C.J. Stroud. Obviously traded for Will Anderson. I think he's going to be a monster. and you took Derek Stingley last year, third overall.
Played a
over
lot
Sauce.
better the second half of the season.
He played a lot better. You still took him over Sauce Gardner, but
That was so stupid.
that was even stupid on draft day.
That was bad on draft day.
I remember my mocks. I had Stingley like as high. I think the highest I had him was like 9.
I had
And
him.
even
I had
then,
him.
I think
I had him going like 11, 12, and then like I remember some drafts I made, bro. I had him falling into like early second round. I did,
the lowest I had him go was like late first. The highest I had him go 9th.
bro. I like Stingley, but I don't know.
Gardner.
Sauce Gardner, man, he was generational, and we all knew that.
Even if he played
Sauce Gardner last year he's already one of the best corners in the league.
Yeah, already.
Because people are talking all that shit, he didn't allow a touchdown. He came into the NFL and did the exact same motherfucking thing. He did. I mean, obviously he allowed touchdowns in the NFL.
Was he played at Cincinnati?
Bro, Cincinnati was good. Like, what? I don't get it, dude.
They didn't play nobody.
That was the Desmond Ritter and the Colts. He's on the Colts. Alec Pierce. Desmond Ritter, Alec Pierce, had a good running back. Like, that was a damn good Cincinnati team that played good competition that year and almost made the college football playoffs. If they might have.
They did.
They did?
I'm pretty sure.
They either made the college football playoffs or they were like the 5 or 6 seed. I mean, that was a damn good Cincinnati team that played good teams all year.
I know they were 4. I don't remember if they lost that last week and dropped.
I can't remember if they ended up making the college football playoffs or not, but either way, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why you would take Stingley over Sauce.
I don't know why you're. And it looks horrible today than it did that day.
It looked bad that day, and it looks bad now.
Yeah, it looks even worse now. I think Houston wins 5-6 games. Yeah, but I think they look a lot better and have a lot of potential.
So,
West, Chiefs win it. 14, 15 wins. It wouldn't surprise me if they went undefeated. It's
honestly,
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either, bro. Patrick Mahomes is ridiculous.
He will end up being the second greatest quarterback of all time. So I don't think he's ready, but
fair.
I think they win 14 games. I have the Chargers at second with 10 wins. If they can stay healthy, they can be a pretty scary team. Plus, you have Kellen Moore there calling plays for Justin Herbert.
Oh, yeah, me and you were talking about that on FaceTime the other night.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrifying.
And Rashawn Slater's back this year. If the defense can stay healthy.
And they drafted Quentin Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. I mean,
Gotta stay healthy, though.
gotta stay healthy. Yeah, I know Mack's not what he was, but Mack is still a very good pass rusher. Very good. It's not all about the stats. It's not. As someone that has watched every single Chicago Bears game since however many years now, Khalil Mack may have not put the sacks up, but sacks is a overrated stat. Look at the pressures. Look what he does for every other defender on that line.
Pressures, QB hits, I mean.
Yeah. Plus 9.5 sacks still isn't bad.
9.5 sacks is still a damn good year.
That's a good year. I mean, Khalil Mack's not what he was at that time, Oakland, with the Raiders, but he's still a very good player. I think they win 10 games. Broncos. I'm not a Russell Wilson hater. I think last year was his fault, kinda. I think he missed a lot of easy reads. But if you notice, as soon as Nathaniel Hackett got fired,
he played better. He played a lot better. Didn't play amazing, but Denver's another hard team for me to predict.
Very good roster, I believe. Very good receiving core.
Yeah, 100%.
Decent. Actually, I think it's going to be a very good offensive line, even if they overpaid guys like Ben Powers and Mike McGlinchey.
It's still going to end up being a good offensive line. Top. It's going to end up being top 10 in the league.
Got Greg Dulcich at tight end and Alberto. That's a solid duo. I think it's a very underrated duo. And a good defense. Pat Surtain's one of the best corners in the league. I mean,
another generational guy.
Yep.
Seen a lot of good corners.
Now, their front seven's a little worrying to me, but I don't think it's bad. But I think they win 9 games. I mean, Sean Payton. I forgot to talk about Sean Payton. Sean Payton is an amazing coach. Amazing. Super Bowl win with Drew Brees in New Orleans back in 2011. Got phenomenal coach. One of the best coaches of this generation. One of. And what's the team I'm forgetting? Oh, the Raiders. I got one thing to say to this. You upgraded at quarterback. Derek Carr is a lot better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Anybody can say what they want. Oh, he won however many games with the 49ers. Look at the defense. Kyle Shanahan.
Forget that. Just forget the defense. Look at the team, not just the defense. Look at the team. Look at the coach. Look at the coach difference. Look at the team difference. Look at it all.
And I don't hate Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he's an okay quarterback. But Derek Carr, I believe, is a lot better. If you put Derek Carr on that Super Bowl team, they could have won. They very well could have won.
Oh, 100%.
Derek Carr would be amazing.
You talking the team that beat Green Bay and then almost beat the Rams, and then, yeah.
I mean, that's all I got to say to that. I mean,
I agree.
It's Vegas. It's the Raiders. I think they win 5 games. And I think, oh God, Patriots' old offense coordinator. I can't remember his name. You remember it? It's the Raiders coach now.
McDaniels?
Yeah, McDaniels. I think McDaniels is a horrible head coach. Horrible head coach. I cannot emphasize that enough. He's horrible. You got Max Crosby?
Hey, I love Max Crosby.
I love Max Crosby too. He's phenomenal.
Carl Nassib loves Max. I can't say that.
I love Trayvon Moehrig. I think Moehrig's awesome. Loved him coming out. 5 wins. 5 wins. You upgraded. Like I said, I'm gonna say it once again because this is all I have to say. All I have to say. You upgraded Derek Carr with Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Well, with that being said, I think that's a solid place to wrap up. What do you think?
Yeah.
Until next week, we'll see you guys later. Peace out, and thanks for tuning in to Hangover on Downs. Drink yourself a beer tonight.